Baruch atah Adonai l'olam she'achon v'barei.
Amen.
Chaim l'chaim v'racha. Welcome, folks. So, God willing, we'll end the mimer today. Tzion b'mishpat tipade v'shaveha b'tzedakah. Tzion, Zion, which refers to the Jewish people, b'mishpat, with judgment, will be redeemed. Right now, we're learning judgment, which means by the letter of the law. What the judgment is, by the letter of the law. Had different understandings of it. Mishpat meant Torah learning, we've learned. Here it means by the letter of the law. So it will be redeemed. Yeshaveha and its captives through tzedakah, charity. So the way we're learning right now is there's two parts of the individual that need redemption. We need to redeem our soul and our body. Right, that's what we're speaking about. So this verse, when it's speaking about redemption, since it's coming in the conclusion of the Haftorah of Chazon Yeshayahu, of the vision of Isaiah, and Yeshayahu, his name means salvation of God, right? Which means to the ultimate salvation of Hashem, which is the times of Mashiach, as it continues and explains in the story of Isaiah, that God wanted to make Cheskiyahu, to make him Mashiach. In the end, he didn't merit, but meaning that this prophetic vision of that we are to be redeemed through judgment and through tzedakah, charity, right, is to ultimately lead to the final redemption. In this, as we've explained previously, there's two ascents, two exaltedness in coming out of exile. Unlike, excuse me for using the term, to make America great again, which just means to bring it back to its former glory. Actually, probably that's not what is meant. Probably bring it to its ultimate and greater glory is what it's meant. Now, I'm not going to get into the politics. I'm just using the term. The reason why we go through a darkness is that there be greater light. That's a very important principle, very important truth that we need to appreciate. Otherwise, there would be a lack in our faith of God. God's not a punishing God. God is a good God. Are there punishing things? Yes. Are there painful things? Yes. But what its purpose is for the greater ascent, the greater good, the greater light that will come from it. So in that greater light that comes from it, there's two perspectives on it. One is darkness is an obstacle in our lives, right? The darkness that I have in me, the darkness that there is in the world, right? Hi. There's two ways to deal with it. One, to see it as an obstacle that I have to get over, right? I have to get over that dark, um, the darkness within me, within the others, other people that I deal with, right? It's an obstacle that I have to jump over, not let it get me down, right? Not for sure not to be defeated by it. That goes without saying. I have to get beyond it, but that's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. It's not sufficient. That's one level. The higher level is that the darkness itself becomes a source of light. The darkness itself becomes a source of light. Now, how's it going to happen in the world out there? Is if it first happens in the world in here, in me. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, as we mentioned, we have two elements in us. We have our divine soul and we have our body. The body is the darkness within me. Why is it dark, the body? Because its agenda is self-directed. Only, the body wants to feed itself. The body wants to take care of itself. It wants to have pleasure and comfort and the like. So that needs to be transformed. Transformed. So one level is that I don't allow it to interfere with my learning Torah right now, right? I don't let my bodily needs interfere. And I allow my spiritual needs to be primary and to hurdle over my bodily needs. That's one level. But there's another level where it's transformative, where the body itself becomes a source of light, where it itself also has the desire for connection to the divine. That's transformative, that the darkness itself now becomes a source of light. So let's go into the verse now that we're, right? Which the main purpose of exile is not to hurdle over and skip over the darkness and not allow it to bring you down. Ultimately, it's about transforming that darkness, right? And where is that? Mainly is in the body of the person. That is redeemed in a time of exile, right? As opposed to the soul, it's in exile too. It just needs to return, right? It's, yeah, it's inherently divine. So it just, needs to return to that divinity. Now let's get into the details over here. We have redeeming through judgment by the letter of the law, and we have returning with charity. Now, so what needs to be redeemed? Right, because the term redemption is about the body. The body, remember, we're not when we speak about the body, we don't mean don't roll in the snow. It's not snow season. Don't um, mortifications of the body. We're not talking about. We're talking about that the body wants to rule over me, and that I live a life of seeking self-directed pleasures, comforts, self-fulfillment. That doesn't mean I won't connect to others. I'll connect to others, but only in the way that it's fulfilling for me. It's not fulfilling for me. I'm not interested. That's body talk. That's not soul talk. Yeah, so it doesn't mean, you know, coffee is only for me. I, I'll give you coffee too if it, if it fulfills my needs. I'll share if it fulfills my needs. So people do share because it fulfills their needs. Most people, that's why they share. That's why they give, because it's fulfilling a need of yours. That's not divine. It's human. That's body talk. So that needs redemption. The redemption is that you transform it. That your body now, which is that darkness, which is just self-directed. Again, it doesn't mean terrible things. It means human. I share because it makes me feel good. I give because it makes me feel good. I'm gonna feel less than if I, don't give charity now, or if I don't do this mitzvah now. How are people gonna look at me? How am I gonna look at myself? It's all body talk. That needs to be redeemed. What it means to redeem? Transform that darkness that the body now doesn't talk that way. It wants the connection to the divine. It wants connection to the divine. When you do that, that becomes the mishpat, the judgment. Now, in other words, um, since it was morning, good morning, since the judgment, since you did it, that's the ultimate judgment and the ultimate, um, you know, letter of the law, if you will, of the body. Right. Its letter of the law is, if you will, um, this exaltedness that you transform it, that becomes I don't know, letter of the law of the right, the appropriate judgment for it. The appropriate judgment for it is transform it. As opposed to so that's what it means. Siyam b'mishpat tipade. It's Zion, right? Referring to the Jewish people. That which needs redemption is the body. And then through that redemption, you reach This is, the law for it. In other words, its law isn't just, be quiet, body, and don't interrupt the soul. No, its law is transform that darkness of you that is just seeking self-fulfillment to divine connection. And the soul, on the other hand, it's only in a place of exile. It's not darkness. The soul is light. It just happens to be in exile, right? My soul and my body right now, it's in exile because that's the situation of life that we are. We're not in the times of Mashiach, God willing, today, but so it receives charity. It returns. It's getting a gift of charity in its return. The fact that it's returning. So, what does that mean? That it's charity versus judgment. Judgment, so says the Alter Rebbe, and in this way, there's something more in the soul and its experience than the body in its redemption, because judgment means you're getting a measured amount. Charity is without measure because it's God's charity. So the soul is getting tzedakah, meaning it's without measure. Concludes the Rebbe in the Maimer that this verse should be understood, in the end, this verse needs to be understood simply. That we're speaking about that when we learn it simply, then it reveals the deeper core essence of the teachings. And the simple idea in this world of this verse is that through um, the judgments we get redeemed, through charity we return, and we create a dwelling place for God in this world, the ultimate dwelling place. Um, hmm. So the simple meaning that we need to be redeemed. We need to go out of exile simply to the final, real, and complete redemption through Mashiach Tzidkenu, Mashiach, our righteous one, very speedily in our times. With that, we conclude. As the verse, simply put, is speaking about redemption, speaking about that, we we need to redeem ourselves, redeem the world, and that's what we're here. I just want to point out, in just a brief thought, Israel is fighting a battle. So in its enemy that it's fighting, they're not seeing that darkness as an obstacle to what they need to do. That's the first level. hurdle the obstacles. But ultimately, that's one level of how you deal with darkness. You don't let it be an obstacle for the good that you need to do. And Israel, in fighting its war, is ultimately for the good that it wants to do. And that's really important to be able to perceive that. But ultimately, what is needed and what is hoped is transforming the darkness into light. So there are parts of the world around Israel that are being transformative to some degree. I wouldn't say it's fully yet, but on some level it's transformative. Where they used to be enemies of Israel, now they are, part of an accord that they are working together. The fact that there is that Israel's providing for them their needs. So, I wouldn't say it's all about divine connection and doing the right thing. On some level, it is, but it's expressed. It always comes out in a political way. But definitely, on a deeper level, there is something transformative. And that's what's happening. The best example of this for me is the hostages and how transformative they were in a place of darkness. They prayed. They made Kiddush Friday night. They observed mitzvahs as much as they could, which is unreal because they didn't go into it with that kind of commitment to connect to God. But there they, in that darkness, they were transformative themselves. So, this is speaking about Zion b'mishpat, speaking about Zion, which refers to the Jewish people. So they've been transformative. Does it mean that the nations of the world will be you know what? Actually, might not be that they're going to be transformative. Maybe they will act out of self-interest rather than divine interest, divine connection. And maybe that's the distinction. Wow. Okay. Fascinating. Fascinating. Yeah. As nations, I think that's what the story is. Individuals can act in divine interest. Nations, not yet. Not yet. All right, folks. We'll see you soon by Chumash Rashi. It's a bit longer today.